Alright guys, so we're standing here at St. Andrews Regional Airport, and this is a Cessna 152 airplane. And over the past couple of weeks we've been talking about fluids, and we've been talking about density. And we've been talking about, well, like how we build our density tower, and how certain fluids of different densities will separate onto different levels of that density tower. But I want to show you guys a real world example of why that's important and how density works in real life. So, this airplane, before we go flying, there's a lot of things that a pilot has to do to make sure that the airplane is ready for departure, is ready for takeoff. And one of those things is checking the fuel. So I have here a little cup. Now this cup is very designed, it's designed in a very specific way, because what we're going to do is we're going to stick this cup into the fuel tank, and we're going to drain out fuel into this cup right out of the airplane's fuel tanks. And we're going to make sure that there's no water inside that fuel. Because if we have water inside our fuel, and that water comes into the engine while we're flying, that could cause the engine to stall. And that would be a very big problem for us if we're flying over like a large body of water, or we're flying over a forest where it's very hard to put the airplane down on the ground without a runway. So we're going to try that. We're going to see if we get pure fuel out of here. And then I'm going to show you what's going to happen when we drain out fuel with water in the fuel. And I want you guys to see how it's going to separate out. So let's go. So underneath these wings right here, guys, so these wings right here that go all the way down there, this wingspan is about 50 feet long. This is where all the fuel for the airplane is kept. So right here is the port where I'm going to stick and drain fuel out of the aircraft. So let's go take a look though in some sunlight where we can actually see what's going on here. So I want you guys to take a look. It's sometimes hard to see, but there should be a bluish tint to that fuel, and that means that we have 100 low-level aviation gasoline inside of the aircraft, and we call that avgas. Now, as you guys can see, there's one level of fuel there, all right? There's no water, there's no different layers, it's just one solid layer of fuel. And that means we have no water inside this fuel tank, and that's a good thing. So let's go check out the other wing and see if it's the same story. We want to be very environmentally friendly, of course. Fuel all over the ground. Okay, so let's go check this side. All right, so same thing. So this is the fuel drain for this side of the airplane, and we're going to drain it. Now, if we come over here, guys, it's the same story, all right? We still have that one layer of fuel. There's no water inside that fuel, which is a good thing. But I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like if there was water inside that fuel. So here we go. So there's our fuel, and I'm gonna add some water to it just so you guys can see what's gonna happen here. Here we go. Now, I don't know how well you guys can see that, but you should see two layers there. You should see the first layer, which is the aviation gasoline. So that top layer, that's the avgas. The bottom layer is the water, okay? Now, we're gonna pause the video for 2 seconds, and I want you guys to think about, why is the water on the bottom? Why did the water sink to the bottom, and why did the avgas go to the top? So we're gonna pause for 2 seconds. And we're back. Okay, so essentially, guys, the reason why that water went down to the bottom is because it's heavier. It's more dense. So when we strain out fuel, and if there's water inside the fuel, the water will come and sink to the bottom, and we'll be able to see, as a pilot, you'll be able to see whether or not you have fuel or a combination of fuel and water inside of your aircraft engine. And if you have water inside, then that means this airplane cannot go flying. Now, let's drain one more time just to be sure, all right? So again, let's drain one more time. So here we go. Just to be sure. And coming up over here. And as you guys can see, there's one layer. So that means there's one layer of avgas. It's got that bluish tint, which means it's the correct fuel, and there's no water inside that fuel, all right? So that means we are good to go flying. Now that is one check out of maybe 25 different things we got to check on this airplane. We have to check things like the wing, the wheel, all right? We got to check the tail section. We got to check all of the moving surfaces on the airplane, like the aileron, all right, that makes the airplane turn. We We gotta check the flaps, we gotta check the lights, we gotta check the cockpit, we gotta check oil, we gotta check the engine, we gotta check a lot of different things to make sure that this airplane is ready to go flying. So, in about 5 minutes from now, we're gonna be departing to, wait, where are we going? We're going to Gimli, that's right. We're going to Gimli apparently, and we'll be doing some touch and goes up in Gimli with Cole, doing a bit of practice flying. Other than that, guys, so that is essentially why density is important to us when we're talking about real world applications like flying or in other situations. Any questions? All right, guys, that's it. We're done.